Scott, you're here today. We're going to talk a little bit about VFC and interview you with Reinspired here about your role with the company.
Oh, dude, I love it, man. Let's do it.
Yeah. Well, thanks for joining us, man. So I wanted to start off with just finding out a little bit more about for someone who is meeting you for the first time. Tell us a little bit about who Scott is and what kind of led you to this moment.
It's a big question. So I am I grew up in a military family, kind of the family business. After high school, went and enlisted in the Army. Proud member of the U.S. Airborne, right?
Okay.
So I was of the 18th Airborne Corps, and that was a really positive experience. And as a kid, I was always real high energy, and looking for whatever was kind of on the furthest realm out there. Like
Sure.
I'm an Eagle Scout, but I didn't want to just do Boy Scouts. I wanted to do Explorer Scouts, and I wanted to rock climb, and I wanted to do things like that. So I think that this is part of who I was and kind of wired at the time and still today. And, when I went in the military, I wanted to do something a little bit more on that extreme edge, And so had a great 4.5 years or so in the military. Had a chute malfunction, which cut some of the other stuff I wanted to do short. And so from there, just kind of started trying to figure things out on my own, who I was and what I was going to be when I grew up.
Okay.
But I would say if you're looking at a 25,000 foot view, I'm someone who likes connecting people.
Okay.
If I know somebody or something that may help or serve you well, I'm going to do everything I can to get you pointed in that direction. So I think helping people is what fills my cup up.
Sure.
And sometimes it feels like it's taken a lifetime to figure that out. Right.
That's awesome, man. No,
Yeah.
and I think for a lot of people, I think it's relatable, right? Like what we think we're going to do versus what we end up doing. Sometimes it can look a little bit different. So it sounds like you've rebounded really well for that. And in this position, you're doing great things.
I appreciate it, man. And you never know when the world is going to deliver the knock at the door that says, "Hey, everything's changing right now."
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, So to be adaptable to that, I'm lucky. I come from a strong family, and I've always had really great people I've been fortunate enough to be surrounded by. They're guys I met in the military or people, through other travels and stuff through life. So it's been good. It's been really good.
That's awesome, man. So career-wise, what are some other things you've done after you, had your accident, after you're out of the military? What kind of led you to VFC? What did you do to get here?
Yeah, so it's an interesting tale, and I would be lying to you if I said I mapped it out from the starting point to where I've got now. So again, life kind of guides you and takes you on adventures, I think. So initially getting out of the military, went back to school, was figuring that stuff out. I didn't realize how bad I just wanted to be a kid again.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I got out, I was only like 23, 24 years old. So I was still not fully developed up here.
That makes
Not
sense.
smart, right? So I made a lot of mistakes, had a lot of adventures. And once I met my wife, it was time to grow up, right? Bring kids into the world and stuff like that. And I was lucky that a couple people saw something in me. I don't know what they did. One guy described it as, "You have a lot of Labrador in you." And I went, "What does that mean?" He goes, "I think you're trainable." I got in the software game, was in the software business for quite a few years. Started off as a trainer and ended up being a consultant and the director of sales and ops in that business. Went out on my own as a consultant for a while, and then had the opportunity to get back into defense contracting.
Okay.
So I was in defense contracting and ran my own tech firm for about 18 years. And what's crazy is I kind of view it as an extension or a continuation of my service, right?
Okay.
Because I was thinking I was serving, a kid in a foxhole somewhere, because I used to be one of those.
Right. Okay.
And then, sometimes the game with these giant corporations and stuff like that isn't as clear cut as that. So the opportunity came about 6 years ago to get back into the people business.
Okay.
And as I kind of look back through those careers and stuff, I was happiest, and I feel like at my best when I could pour into people one-on-one or in smaller groups, right?
Sure.
So it was a really good transition, I think, for my mental health to get back into the people business.
That's
right?
awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. No. That's really good. And I think for a lot of veterans and for myself, I know it sounds like for you as well, it's a lot more fulfilling to be in the people business,
Yeah.
right? Than just serving a contract somewhere.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. That contract, I don't know what it was tied to.
Right.
Yeah, some of them I do, but it wasn't tied to the people I wanted to be serving. So it was
Yes.
time to kind of recalibrate things.
Absolutely. And
Yeah.
VFC, it sounds like, is really giving you an opportunity to be hands-on with helping people.
Well, and what's amazing with it is, and as a veteran too, you walk into a brewery or a restaurant, you find another vet.
Yeah.
There's a common connection there, and it's like finding your people,
Yeah.
And I think in the civilian world, and I hate to say that, but it's hard to find your people,
Agreed. Yeah.
And so being able to find and identify, hey, these are my people, and these are the people I want to serve, regardless of what that looks like, is kind of liberating, right? It gives you clarity and intention and things, but really a purpose.
Yeah.
Right?
Absolutely.
And some of these guys got it better than me. A lot of these guys got it far, far worse. And it's like, how do we get those people together so we all get better, or rise as a result?
Together.
Yeah, totally.
Absolutely. No, I love that, man. I love that. So keeping in that, why do you think people trust you with something as important as their benefits, as their financials, as you're going through this with VFC? What is it that leads people to trust you?
So I think there's a couple things that answered. Number one, VFC as an organization has the prowess, right? And the skill and the experience, whether it's VA benefits, whether it's insurance, whether it's mortgages, whether it's financial consulting and planning. The members of this team have lived through those things.
Yeah.
A lot of us have made those mistakes and rebounded from those things. And what I'll really say our superpower is, our superpower beyond anything else, is if you're in that club with us, that veteran club, we give a shit.
Yeah.
And so if there was a superpower to say that was the differentiator, is we give a shit.
Yeah. No,
So-
I 100% agree. And being a veteran myself and being in that kind of people business, I can speak to that 100%, that the ability to just care and actually give a shit is different than a company who's just trying to make $1 off of it.
Yeah, totally. Well, and I think, whether you are in for your 4 years or 24 years, there's this whole subculture. We have our own language. There's our own sense of humor. So there's these different bonding points that just makes it a very natural fit to pour into our people.
Yeah.
It's just a natural thing, I think, that we're lucky enough to be able to do and provide.
Yeah, no, I 100% agree. What's a misconception that you think people have about your line of work that you wish veterans knew was wrong?
Yeah. Well, I think the internet has created tons of noise,
Yeah.
right? So I look, a lot of the stuff that I work on is helping veterans get the benefits they've earned.
Sure.
And I think a lot of people think, or the industry as a whole has kind of got like a slimy kind of feel to it, right? We're going to help you take advantage of the government and get you paid, or we're going to, take advantage of the process. I really think at the end of the day, when you sit with someone and you speak the same language and you do that head to toe assessment of, what incidences or what byproducts post service are you having as a result of things you did in the service, it's real clear cut. And it's a switch you got to take in your mind, right? Because most of us are like, no, I'm good. I don't need it. There's people that are far worse off than I am. I'm good. If you're going to do it for yourself, do it for your family.
Yeah.
Right? Because very few of us leave service without a scar or two, whether it's mental or physical or whatever that looks like.
Yeah.
So I think the difference is again, we work with the individual. We're not just processing claims. We're not just trying to get people money. We're trying to get people the actual benefits they actually earned.
I love that, man. And I think you hit the nail on the head with the noise on the internet. There are so many ambulance chaser, just really greasy services out there that are doing this with AI, especially now, right?
Yep.
That it's just trying to take advantage of something. And I think people do deserve this. They have earned it, right? But it's a matter of doing it the right way and doing it with the right people. And I think that shines through with what you're doing. Kind of circling back or staying on point with that. You mentioned earlier that you had a situation during your service where your chute didn't deploy.
Yeah.
Right. So walk us through what that was like for you in the sense of your benefits. Did you get out of the Army with disability benefits? Is it something that you pursued afterwards? And what was that like?
Yeah. So when in a high speed environment, I had my accident, shattered the left side of me, a bunch of stuff, bunch of metal in the leg. But I was healing in the barracks.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so the only thing I wanted to do is get out there with my buddies and keep jumping again, because that's what high speed was at the time. So
Sure.
I healed up as quickly as I could to make sure I didn't lose, that valuable jump pay and
Right.
all the other things like that. So I got after it. When I got out of the service, I had metal in my leg and medical, thick medical record stuff as a result. I eventually, with a couple days to spare, went down to the VA, half-assed, filled out the forms, turned over my records. Again, I'm a college kid now, and I get a letter, and like $54 or $67 started showing up on my account. So they'd give me 10%.
Okay.
I didn't know anything better, right? As I got older, probably mid to late 20s, a lot of the things I had done in the service started to coming back to haunt me, like chronic back pain. I used to be an avid runner. I couldn't do that anymore because knees were blown out, and my back problems and stuff. And so I started going to the VA to try to get some assistance, right?
Sure.
Because I'm like, hey, this thing happened. I want to know if I can get any help. And as it turns out, my records were lost.
Huh.
Right?
Okay.
So basically I got hey, sorry, we don't have any documentation on this. Best of luck, kid. And this is
I wish I could say I was surprised.
Right, yeah. And I'm not going to pin the blame on the VA or PERSCOM, whoever had the records. I'm sure it went off the back of a filing cabinet or something.
Sure,
and
yeah.
whatever else. So I spent about 29 years trying to locate my records.
Okay.
And I petitioned the Library of Congress and got 8 pages. 2 pages were a cover letter, a DD-214, and then a couple post-op notes. Somehow it shown up somewhere.
Wow.
I'd gone to all the resources I could find. And one day I was up at the Cheyenne VA, and I just broke down. And I found this very nice lady. And she said, "Sir, are you okay?" And I said, "I need to find the one person in this building who gives a fuck." And it just kind of came out, all these years of just hurting and stuff. And so at that point in time, she's like, "Oh my gosh, come with me." We started looking at what it would be like to actually get a claim properly filed. I had this huge obstacle in my mind was they don't have any service records. I had a copy of them, but I was told they wouldn't take them because I could have, tampered with them or something like that. They were great. They worked with me. They got my records scanned in. And then got me connected with American Legion.
Okay.
So I worked with American Legion and got a claim submitted. And so that claim went through. We're really not supposed to talk about, percentages and stuff like that. But it went through to the point where I started getting the care for the parts of me that were broken that I need fixing, right? And so that was really, that was a learning moment about 30 years in the making. Beyond that, after that, there were things in that claim that I really felt were severe, not severe. They were important to me and my health. And so what I did is I then learned how to submit the claim and really dove into what the claim process looks like.
Okay.
And here's what I discovered. And there's no bad guys in this situation. It's just the reality of the world. They speak a completely different language than we do.
Sure.
They're a big, giant government organization that is doing the best that they can. But if you don't speak the same language as them, you're going to get denied.
Yeah.
You're going to get turned down, or things are not going to go smoothly for you. So I dedicated hundreds of hours of figuring this process out.
Okay.
Of how I can get things in the language that they need to see.
Yeah.
Right? And I can get that processed. And since then, helped dozens and dozens of veterans do the same because, again, you run into a vet, you talk about your service.
Yeah.
And hey, are you engaged with the VA? Are you doing all right? Stuff like that. And this kept coming up, well, I'm good. I don't have a rating. I don't need a rating. And some of those guys don't. But some of them really, really do. And it's like, well, I just got done learning all this stuff. Let's sit down and figure out how we can get some of these benefits to you and your family. And I'll tell you the funniest thing is, I think most of us sitting around and be like, I'm good.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
Because we think of the brave souls and the poor souls that are missing arms and legs,
Yeah.
and like the truest horrors of violence these people have gone through. But there's a lot of stuff going on up here for people,
Yeah.
right? Coming out of a 22-year war.
Yeah.
Right. And getting people help and getting them support and getting them care. And what's funny is I'd say 9 times out of 10, most of us are going to puff our chest out. We're going to be like, I'm good.
Yeah.
I'm good. I was a Marine, or I was a paratrooper. I was
Yeah.
a rescue swimmer in your case. I'm tough. I'm good. And when I ask them, well, would you be willing to do this for your family? That's when it hits.
Turn that switch on.
It turns the switch,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Because if we can serve them, they're going to turn around, they're going to serve their families.
Yeah.
And if we can find ways to build a financial roadmap for you and get you care and benefits that's going to serve you and your family, you now get to show up as the best version of yourself.
Yeah, man.
Not the stressed out guy dealing with chronic pain or dealing with, some of the stuff going up here, depression, anxiety, all of it, right? And it's real. But we suck at talking about it.
Oh, yeah.
We suck at talking about it. So if nothing else, just those conversations can bring awareness to people and know that there's help for them.
Yeah. I agree.
Yeah. And there are people.
Right.
So why would we not want to serve our people?
Yeah.
So I don't know if I answered your question or what.
No, you did, man. And it's powerful because your story, I think, is going to resonate with a lot of people, right? Barracks healing, right?
Right.
I was in the position. I had 2 knee surgeries that I literally was recovering. I was released from the hospital to the barracks, and I was literally in the barracks trying to recover. And it was some of the loneliest time ever because everybody went out to work, right? Everybody's out in the field. Everybody's off doing their job that I'm supposed to be doing too. And I'm sitting in the barracks by myself with one other guy who has pneumonia or something, right? Right. And I'm trying to heal from this. And I'm having to call the duty driver to take me to appointments and whatnot. And I think the mentality when you're sitting there is, I need to get through this as quick as I possibly can. And I don't care what's going on with medical. I just need to get through this so I can get back to active duty. I can get back to release to my unit or to my team, right? So I think there's a lot of people that are going to resonate with that are going through or have gone through the same thing and then ended up in a position where they got out with nothing, right?
Yeah.
Because that process for a lot of us was just, I'm out and it was quick. It's not what it is today necessarily with the transition assistance program that's 6 months, 9 months, 12 months in the making, depending on your rank and what you do. But you're rushed out at that point when we were serving.
Well, and what's I think important too, and you alluded to it, we've been indoctrinated to be on mission.
Yeah.
So when we are taken off mission, not by our own, own decision, but the world has decided that for us, or the universe, then we sit there and spool. And I remember taking trash bags over my leg that was in a cast and trying to shower on crutches.
Right.
I'm balling. But when the mission is over or when we ETS,
Yeah.
a lot of times it's real easy to get lost, right?
It is.
Or you think the world is going to be something different than the reality it oftentimes is. And so it's one of the beautiful things I think we've been able to discover together is VFC, with the work we're doing and the people we're helping, has given us that mission. And it's the mission. It's like, this is what I want to spend my life doing.
Yeah.
So it's where it counts.
I agree. 100%. I agree. All right, Scott. So coming back to VFC a little bit, tell us a little bit about how VFC came to be.
Yeah. It's a great origin story if we're talking about that. We're lucky enough that we came into each other's environments and atmospheres, right? Between you, me, Patrick, and some of the other contributors and folks that come in here. And we all were doing something, but none of us felt like we were doing enough.
Yeah.
And kind of like, there's power in having that mission. And so what I think started with a couple conversations over coffee or around a conference room table and stuff turned into what ended up being this burning passion with, hey, rather than trying to tackle all these things independently, we can bring this in and square somebody away at the highest level possible. If you take a look at the trajectory of somebody ETSing, helping them get their VA benefits, helping them get into a home, right, for them and their family and start building generational wealth, the component where how they protect all that through insurance, the financial consulting, some of the other social stuff that we do,
Yeah.
right? The meetups and get-togethers, the live streams that we do where people just get to ask questions and stuff. It created a community that we felt like we didn't have.
Yeah.
So I think I'd love to say we were, visionaries and we're going to build a community and bring people together. But I think it happened by association and by proximity.
Yeah.
So the origin story is a bunch of guys that are doing pretty well and have struggled in the past and gotten to a certain point, wanted to turn around and lift as many other veterans up as they could.
Yeah, I love that, man. I couldn't have said it any better. I mean, that's amazing.
And it gave us a mission. That's how we're wired. So, and it's giving other people a mission.
Yeah.
Even if that mission is, you know what, I'm gonna go to the VA and get this stuff figured out, and maybe one day we can get in a house, or maybe one day I have a real retirement, or maybe whatever your maybe is or your big why, we want that for you.
Yeah.
And in an ethically, responsibly defined plan, we're going to help you get there.
I love that. That's awesome. At what point for you did it go from just a conversation and three guys talking about it to this has to happen?
I would say probably by the second or third time we got together, it was like, you hear a good idea and you're like, oh man, that'd be great. And how many great ideas have you had around a beer or something like that kind of faded into the ether? You know what I mean? Oh, that'd be a lot of hard work or stuff like this. The second time we got around and started talking about like natural framework started coming together, and I got that big whiteboard in my office and we started mapping stuff out. I think after that second meeting, my thought was, oh shit, this is doable.
Yeah.
And this is doable at scale. We could help a lot of people with this.
Yeah.
And what I loved about it, it's a service model. It's not a get rich quick model. It's not a how do we take from people. It's how do we give to people.
Yeah.
And so I would say by the time that second sit down was there, and this doesn't always happen where you finally see it and you're like, oh, this is something we could do. This is something we have to do.
Yeah.
So I think it turned into a have to do at the end of our second meeting after we kind of threw stuff around. And again, just being surrounded by quality people, seeing things that maybe the blind spots I have, you're seeing, and Patrick's seeing blind spots we both have, even though he's a Marine. Stuff like that. It came together and it turned into a have to, I think, at that moment for me.
Yeah, I would agree. What problem for you is just unacceptable for veterans to have to deal with?
So it took me hundreds of hours to figure out how to communicate with the VA, how to meet their requirements, and what they needed to do to get care.
Okay.
And so for me, I think it's unacceptable to expect a veteran who's seeking care or support or benefits to have to go through 200 or 300 hour process to figure that out. So I think that's something that we as a group bring to the table. The other thing is I want to protect people from, let's say, the charlatans out there that are telling you that you can plug this into AI and you get rich quick and all this stuff will open up to you. There's a right way to do it, and there's a right way to do it with integrity. You know what I mean? I'm not trying to get people something they haven't earned.
Sure.
Right? Because that's not good. And so I think there's an integrity piece to that, which is non-negotiable for me. And I think that, again, by design, there's no clarity in how this process actually works. And the words are important, and the forms are important. And, you're going deeper. The power of a buddy statement, your CMP exams, compensation and pension exams. What are those actually like? And what do you need to be aware of going into those? Yeah. And so that clarity, I don't think should have to be a arduous process for somebody. And I've seen too many people with legitimate claims and legitimate injuries and forever changing things that haven't gotten what they deserve because they didn't know how they were supposed to do it.
Well, and I think you are the person specifically to speak to that, right? Because you had something that was, I think by most standards, people would say is a significant injury, a significant mishap, right? And you got a minimal rating for it, right? You're suffering for these years because of the perceived difficulty of getting that, right?
Right.
Or do I even deserve it? Or is it something that I have earned, right? So the fact that you can speak to that is just, I think, speaks volumes about who you are, but also the organization.
Well, and and the funny thing too is, when you're 23 years old and you're, ex-military, I had the world's worst chip on my shoulder, right? I was just such a jerk, but my ego got in my way on some of this too.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And once you introduce family and you mature a little bit, you're like, I got to get this figured out, And it wasn't a money grab. It was like, how do I get somebody to take care of my back? Because there's something wrong. Is there somebody I can talk to? Because I'm stressed out with business, or, I'm stressed out with a relationship, or I'm stressed out with something like this. And it's like, you find out you're struggling mentally sometimes.
Yeah.
And where do you go? And the only people I can go and talk to that understand are other business owners, because a lot of times we're dealing with the same stress, but more especially other veterans, where it's like, oh yeah, dude, I thought about that, or I thought things like that before.
Yeah.
And it makes you feel not alone. And if there's anything out there, you may feel lonely, but you're never alone.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
So, yeah, that's big and that's important. Everybody needs to know that. So, but I think, my ego got in my way. I still thought I was superhuman at 23. You know what I mean?
Right.
Not everything had caught up yet. I had a limp and weather messed with me and all that other stuff, but I'm invincible. And I did less than a tenth of what, most of these heroes do these days,
So in plain English, what is the mission of the Veteran Finance Collective?
That's a great question. In our mission statement, we talk about how we stand in the gap, right? And there's definitely a gap between military life and civilian life. There's a gap in financial education, right? And we both know that firsthand.
Oh yeah.
There's a gap in the perceived benefits you've earned and the actual benefits you've earned, or the difficulty in how I would get them, right? So what we do is we stand in the gap and we try to work with the whole person. We're not a charlatan on the internet just trying to get you a crazy VA rating. We're not someone who's just trying to talk you into VA loans, because there's a gazillion people there doing that. Yeah. We're trying to work with you and your family on how do I create a bulletproof plan that gets me everything I want out of my life.
I love that.
And so that's what we do. And we're connectors. If there's something that you need that we can't do, we're going to find that third party or somebody else that we know that's going to help you with that. So we're working towards the whole person, and the relationship, honestly, right?
Yeah. No, that's great. That's great. I couldn't have said it any better. Who is VFC not for in your eyes?
If someone's looking to defraud the government, or put in a bullshit VA claim, we're probably not for you.
Yeah.
If you're somebody who is serious about your financial future, and where you want to take you and your family, we are for that person. If you're somebody who's lost and needs guidance, we're that person. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I've taken calls before that they just didn't know who else to call.
Yeah.
And we didn't talk about VA claims. We didn't talk about mortgages, and we didn't talk about financial planning. We talked about, hey man, how are you?
Right.
Right. All over the internet, we talk about, check on your battle buddy and all this other stuff. And, that's important. That's important. So, we're here for people that are looking to make a difference. And you think about, in the military, we talk about force multipliers.
Yeah.
Imagine, we all know 10, 15, 20 vets, depending on what we do and how we're connected and stuff. If you could get one person and you can completely change their lives, right?
Yeah.
And then they can start helping their friends change their lives. It's a force multiplier.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden you have this thriving community of business leaders and mentors and all these things that can pour back into the local communities and raise everybody up. So it's about being a change maker.
Yeah, I agree with that. And we were talking earlier about the impact that finances and benefits and these types of conversations can have on veteran suicide and the issue that is, right? I mean, it's way, I think we can all agree, everybody everywhere can agree that it's a rampant issue right now.
Absolutely.
And how much of that does stem from, at some point, either a medical diagnosis that somebody doesn't have or needs, benefits that could help them financially where they're at, they could
Yep.
get some help, whether that's home or, whatever it is. So I think it's huge that that's what is being focused on here. And it can be a force multiplier, and it can change so many lives in a positive way.
Yeah. Well, and that financial shows, I think, I don't know the stat, but most marriages, the number one indicator for a marriage falling apart is over finances.
Yeah.
Right. Imagine if you and your spouse, who maybe don't like talking about finances, came together and had a plan you were both bought in on.
Right.
Hey, this is where we're going. These are the big things we're going to do for our family. There's a lot of healing that can go on in there. But again, maybe it's not just veteran centric, but I know a lot of times people, when things are going wrong, the relationship gets rocky because of finances, or what we tend to do is go isolate ourselves.
Yeah.
Right. And then stinking thinking kicks in, and the world's better without me, or I'm never going to get my way out of this. And you and I are both living proof that no matter how bad you goof up or screw up, you can recover from these things, and you can do it with people that give a shit about you.
Right.
And you can repair relationships, and you can thrive in your life, and you can raise beautiful families, and you can do big things for other people. So
that's huge, man. So you talked about some of these other just real greasy companies that are out there. We're not naming names or doing any of that, but how do you protect veterans from bad advice, some of these bad actors, these bad companies out there that are just trying to game the system?
Yeah. I think it all comes down to, I don't have like a marketing campaign that yells, beware, 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 flash some lights or anything. But I think the power is in the conversation. If we can get somebody to pick up the phone and we can have that initial conversation about, hey, how can we help you?
Yeah.
How can we serve you? Right. It's that servant leadership thing. We can assess where they're at and where they want to go.
Yeah.
I want to be in contact with as many people as possible, to keep them away from, the predatory type of folks that are in this space.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people are making promises they can't execute on, or what they're doing is just raping you on the back end. Hey, good news, we're going to take all your back pay, or you're going to owe us something monthly forever. No, this is just one thing that VFC does.
Yeah.
Right. We're not looking to get rich. We're looking to make a change.
Right. Well, it's funny because you mentioned that some of the ones I've seen recently that just have me just shaking my head are the pay us up front.
Yeah.
Right. Oh, we're not going to take your back pay. We're better because we don't want to take your back pay. Pay us $3,000 up front. Pay us $3,500 up front. And it's like, okay, well, what's your skin in the game? Right?
Exactly. Right.
Yeah. And the VSO do this for free. I mean,
yep. Oh,
so.
Exactly. Now, and I think one of the other differentiators in this space, and I'm not talking shit on anybody, most people in a government agency processing anything is trying to get piece of paper from stack A to stack B.
Yeah.
Right. And that's their world. That's their reality.
Yeah.
And they don't care how it gets from A to B. They just got to make sure it goes from stack A to stack B. Yeah. Right. And so I think making sure that, we're doing the research and the work up front.
Yeah.
So you have the strongest documented case possible. We're seeing claims go through quicker, right? There's a lot less back and forth or need for high level reviews or stuff like that. So we're trying to partner with the VA, if you will, to work within their process at the highest level to have the most amount of success for veterans.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
No, it's amazing. So, what would you want a veteran watching this to feel or know after hearing your story?
Yeah, man. You're not alone. You've already earned this. You're not taking from somebody else. That's the other big thing. A lot of us, again, it goes back to that ego. Well, if I'm getting this, that means somebody who's worse off than I am is not, right? And that's couldn't be further from the truth. So most importantly, you're not alone. You have a man, there's so many people that care about you. You need to make sure that's in the front of your mind at all times. And then you're not taking from somebody else by leaning into something that you've already earned. And if it was your wife or your child or a parent or a brother or sister, you would encourage them to do what we're encouraging you to do. You'd want them to have that support or that care or that disability to help them, right?
Yeah.
So get out of your own way. Again, you're not alone. We give a shit. Get out of your own way.
That's awesome. That's awesome. What do you see for the future? For VFC, if you could look at a glass ball 5 years from now, where do you see yourself in VFC?
Oh, wow. I think we're going to continue to work with amazing people. But I think our network is going to grow even more, whether it's partnering with other charities or other service providers.
Yeah.
Right. There's a great charity called Project Healing Waters.
Yeah.
If you have a disability rating, these guys teach you how to fly fish, which is magic, right?
Yeah.
Why should we not be connectors for people that can be served with these other organizations? So I think as an organization, our network is going to grow so we can plug people into ancillary things that are going on that will add to the quality of their life. I think that also the ability to bring people together with additional video projects and stuff we've talked about, highlighting veterans and their stories, will continue to grow and bring awareness to some of this stuff. And then, some of the people we really are tied into, Grunt Style Foundation, those guys are doing big work. So I think just to continue to partner in this space so people know we're here to serve them, I think that's kind of part of our trajectory.
Yeah, that's awesome. Sounds like big plans for VFC.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, that's really the bulk of the questions I have for you today, Scott. Is there anything else you want to share with our listeners?
No, I think we're good. I'm really proud to be a part of this. It means a lot. And again, it's given me a mission with true purpose that I'm very, very proud to be a part of. So it's a game changer.
Yeah, I would agree with you. I'm excited about where we're going and the group of guys we're doing it with.
Hell yeah, man.
Definitely.
All right, brother.
Have a good one.
You too, man. Appreciate you, Chris.